All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Free Daily Coaching. Sorry about the double glitch. I thought yesterday when I had went back into the back office that I had turned off the automation, excuse me, and this morning it wasn't letting me start it, and apparently I didn't save that yesterday. So I saved that. The settings should be saved so that no more automation happens, and so that should be totally turned off, and we should be back on schedule. So tomorrow you shouldn't have any replay or any automation or anything like that. We got a free daily coaching. We had a little glitch. So all right, it looks like everyone found us except for Chris. So hopefully she'll find us over here. You see the link. All right, so we'll make sure that she popped over, and that's it, and we'll be back on schedule. So everything, we got the automation turned off. I just simply forgot to hit save yesterday when I was in there, and so that's why I did the automation this morning. So this morning we want to talk about, I named this webinar, and it's almost like a follow-up. We're almost doing a follow-up series to last week's calls, because last week we specifically were talking just about goal setting, and then this week we're seeing that we're identifying and talking about the challenges and the obstacles that happen when you set out to do a project. So recently, one of the projects, and this is a great example, so I wanted to talk about this. So sometimes in the bigger picture you have, and we talked about in our goal setting episodes, we talked about setting a single goal. And so I'm looking at setting, like, let's say 6 or 8 or a dozen, let's say, different goals, all in different areas of life. Let's say in my personal life, there's 3, and there's a half a dozen in my work life, and in my relationships, there's, a couple other goals. There's things that I'd like to do, right? So when you're working on multiple things across the spectrum, when one doesn't pan out, or when one thing gets behind, it kind of cascades, right? That effect happens. Well, this is an example of where that happens, where I'm working on a project or on multiple projects simultaneously, trying to finish up one and get another one started, right, concurrently at the same time. And so as you get this project started, you run into a few glitches, so that you want to get them fixed just so you can finish it off, right, and get back to the other task at hand. And what happened in doing that was that we realized, and this just happens, this occurs in life and business, and you have to roll with these punches, right? Sometimes it's just the way that it is. So I got all of this stuff set up for this camera system for the Goat Village, and we got all this part done. And so it put me behind in some of the other projects that I was working on, right? Now, it was okay, like that, it was an acceptable, it was an acceptable loss, if you will, like that time loss, because I already had something in place. Had I not had free daily coaching already in place, like the Friends of Free Daily Coaching and the sites and everything, then it would be a big deal. But we already have the original website in place, and it's functional. So it wasn't as time pressing. However, what happened was we went in and bought a system. We got it all set up. So we did all of the networking and the computer end, right? And literally I had to dig like I don't know what it was. Between Jessica helped me do it, so we did it together. We dug something like 120-foot trench from our garage out to the barn. We had to drill holes and run lines and conduit and stuff so that we could hook this all up. So we got all that done. We got all these cameras and mounted, and we finally got the software working, right? Because that part wasn't working, and it was messing up our whole online network. And when I looked at how exactly, like, the process of doing the camera build out and getting the streaming part connected, and how we were going to do that with the membership site, I realized that the types of cameras that I got were, it wasn't that the cameras themselves were good, but because of the type of camera that they were and how they connected to the DVR system, it was like a closed loop. It was a proprietary system. So I couldn't get access. No one else would be able to have access. And there wasn't really an easy workaround, right? That it wasn't set up as an easy workaround. So then what happened was I had to find, okay, well, what's the solution, right? What's the camera solution? So I had to do the research on that. And so I did, and I ordered the new camera. So I got at least 2 new cameras coming on the way right away. They'll be here tomorrow. And then in addition to that, I had to look at some different services, some providers of service that I need to make the camera streaming feature a possibility. And because there was different technical components that I hadn't factored in, merely because I didn't know, right? That was simply the reason. So some of the obstacles and the challenges that you won't know because there's nothing to write on my list of required actions, because I wrote the list of required actions that I believed would get me to the end result. So I did get to an end result. So I wanted to get to a different end result, right? So a couple of people are looking for the webinar. So let me just, let me tag it. So let me just edit this guy real quick so Robert can find this. There. Okay, so we didn't get the result we wanted. However, in the process, we accomplished the ultimate goal, which is we're going to be able to have the entire thing set up. The Wi-Fi is connected out to the barn, right? Everything is now in place. However, we just stumbled along the way. So the camera system and all of that essentially has to be taken down, right? So everything that I put up, not the computer lines and the trenching and all that, but the camera system itself and the DVR, all of that has to be taken down and removed and then just replaced with new cameras and run new line, right? So essentially what happened was I needed a different type of a camera that could do just a few different things and connect in a different way. And then I needed to find a service. So all of that was able to occur. And check this out. Yesterday I was sitting here and I was working, I was trying to find these services, and I'll show you guys. I was doing research, and so here, let me pull up the Hangout so I can show you guys. So I was doing some research and I had found the cameras. So once I found the cameras, I was like, okay, that's cool. I found the cameras, I got those ordered. And then I needed to look at different services, right? And I had talked yesterday about this, about looking at things up in a different way. And so I was looking up different services, and I was doing some research, and I was up so late that it had gotten dark outside, and I hadn't even turned on my light or anything. And Jessica was like, "Are you still working?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I did enough research that I narrowed it down to like 7 different companies that could get that that could give me something close to you know, what it was that I wanted. So so that's the good, the bad, and the ugly is what we called it this morning. So so I boiled it down to 7. So it took me quite a while, but I got it completed. And this was the reason. Because I have 2 main projects going right now, the free daily coaching rebuild and like building out this camera part for the ranch, because that's part of what we're doing for Jess. And then there's the next step of what we're doing for that, right? There's more things that need to occur. So, so the good part is that we got half or a good portion of the project completed, and we got the technical parts figured out, if you will, right? We were able to call enough people, look online, find the resources, and go, okay, we're using the wrong equipment. We need a different thing. We need to take this down, return it, and we need to get different equipment. So that was all able to be accomplished. So the reason that it was imperative for me to get the new cameras on order and to be able to do the research to narrow down which of these, right? So I can now call these 7 companies, compare the companies, like what the service plan to the price plan is. And all I did was simply, I created a spreadsheet this morning, right? I came and I copied all of those different, services down. And so then I added them into a spreadsheet so I could put down, okay, what's the monthly cost? What's the benefits that I get from this? Or what's the service features that I'm receiving, so that I can make a good comparison. I think I found, looking through it all last night, which one I want to use. And so it's just a matter of calling them and figuring out, what the deal is, how they can connect. So I can't do that step until tomorrow, because there's no point in doing that until the camera is connected, because until the company, the service, can actually connect to the camera online, they won't be able to tell me and show me what it is that they can actually do. So that portion I set aside, okay, in this endeavor, because I've done everything that I could do up to this point for that, right? Except for then build out the site, right? And so now I've got like 2 sites to finish out the free daily coaching site. And that's just a matter of adding some graphics at this point. And then making everyone, assigning the correct membership levels. That's it. And then everyone's ready to rock and roll on that end, right? Then on this end, getting the camera uploaded, one of the things that we had to do was go get goatvillage.com. So we went and secured that. So we have goatvillage.com now, the website or the domain, so that we could forward that domain over to the new site and to the membership site, where we can have all the fun live stream videos, right? So the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good part is we were able to learn some new techniques. We were able to build out part of the system and get a lot of it done. The bad is that sometimes it takes twice as long, and it takes a little extra time, because if you just go into it, and this is why a lot of people are not getting results. You see, I just said, okay, I looked at the camera. It looked for the most part like it could do what it was that we wanted it to do. So we got it, we installed it, we were ready to go, and we went to implement. We just did it. Then when we did it, we realized, okay, this isn't exactly what we need to do, right? So let's redo this. Now, in this case, we did it, and in this project, we did it at a price point that was affordable for us. So we didn't buy into and get a camera system that was like way out of our budget. We did something that was affordable to us, and we also did it where we had the protection to be able to take it back if it wasn't going to work, right? So we put in safeguards in the process so that we could ensure that we would have success, right? Or at least that we would be able to move closer to our goal, which would get us closer to success. So there was some good, there was some bad, and then the ugly was just that, like, hey, it was totally wrong, right? It was totally wrong type of camera. So the ugly part is like, oh, it's that you have to, not that it took twice as long because you had to learn something. The ugly part is like you have to go back and do things a couple of times. And also the ugly part is, this is the ugly reality of when a specific project doesn't stay on time. What can happen is other things, other parts of your schedule and of your timetable will then be affected. So it's essential when something like that occurs to be able to identify right away, hey, is this something that I could spend a few hours on and correct the situation and make this happen? Or is this something that would be better to just set aside for a minute? And so let me explain that. In this scenario, when I was working on free daily coaching, I was doing a few things. I was getting it finished up, and then we were starting on this new project. So I could set free daily coaching aside just for a minute to go work on this project because I knew I could come back to it. when I got overwhelmed here, or an overwhelmed, let me use a different word. When I got behind schedule, right? And it was a little overwhelming at first. It was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? We just bought this camera set. We just set it all up and now it's not going to work, right? That was the feeling for a second. And then the next thought was, okay, what needs to occur, right? Do I need to jump back over here really quick and finish this up? Or do I need to stay focused on this project and follow this through? What's going to be essential? Well, this is running and functional. And this right here is not, right? Because right now we can watch, okay? Sorry, people are like, hey, I just logged onto the site. And I'm like, I know, I said I posted in Facebook. So we posted in the back on the Facebook group. So it was essential and it was imminent to get the camera project done, because right now only my wife and I can look at the cameras, right? And so everyone else doesn't have access to the cameras. And that was the main goal. The main goal was to allow others to be able to come in and have access to the cameras via the membership site, right? So that they could come and watch what's going on in Goat Village. And mainly because we just had bunny babies. So we have a bunch of bunny babies running around, and we're going to have baby goats, and people want to see that. And we want to be able to provide that. So the ugly part was that's the ugly reality, is that if you allow one item to knock you down, it could actually cascade and really get you behind. So the key to that is to be able to identify, is this a task that I can actually remedy and get fixed relatively quickly? And if so, then go ahead and do that. If not, set it aside until you have the time to be able to focus on it and complete the task. Now, in a situation like this, where it's something that's imminent, that's built on a time crunch, like this is on a time crunch because we will have missed the entire window of opportunity if all the baby bunnies grow up and are gone and the goat is born and the goats get big and go away. Right? That the whole window will have been missed. So this has to be done up front. The idea is to capture the audience and the intrigue and get the momentum going before the babies are born. So are you going to have a baby monitor in case when the animal goes into labor? Yeah, we have the cameras are set up for motion, so that if something happens like in the middle of the night when they're sleeping, they're usually not moving around. They're usually, well, now Jess has already been out there and opened them up. But this morning when I woke up, they were just like laying in there. So this will be set up so that it will give us a motion detector. So if something happens in the middle of the night in their deal, that we'll know. So yeah, we'll totally know when they're going into labor. And we'll probably know the day of, because we'll see that the goat doesn't eat and doesn't behave in a normal way. So the good, the bad, and the ugly of your business and of goal setting and of doing this on a regular basis is that if you're actually consistent, you're going to see that there's times when things get out of whack. And when that happens, you have to go back and readjust. You have to refocus, readjust. And so today we've gotten everything done that we can do for the camera system, right? It's that until the new cameras come, everything's done that could be done. So what needs to occur is the only thing that needs to occur is then to just create the membership site for people to log into. So we could create that and finish the free daily coaching, and we'll be back on schedule. And so since we have the day to do that, that's basically what Jessica and I will do today. That's what our list of things, right? That's a list of required actions of the day. So now you guys can see this is the reality. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly of doing things. And when you have multiple projects, this is what really occurs. And you have to hold yourself accountable, because if you don't hold yourself accountable, no one else is going to, right? What other people are going to do is they're just going to simply say, well, you didn't follow through on that, so I'm just going to go off to the next thing. That's how simple and so how easy it will be. So hold yourself accountable, create these list of required actions and realize that there is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when the ugly comes, just reshift, refocus, reprioritize what is required so that you can keep moving forward, right? That's it. That's all for this morning here at Free Daily Coaching. Remember, you can always go over and visit us at www.freedailycoaching.com. Register for the live webinars so that you can participate. You can be here live, and you'll get updates and invites to all the events and the things that we're doing online. So thanks for joining us here at Free Daily Coaching. We'll see you the next time.